Hey, I'm Tanner Kalina, and I'm so excited to be diving into this Lent with you. So today's gospel reading is maybe the most famous parable of Jesus, the parable of the Prodigal Son. Maybe you've never heard this story before. Maybe you have heard this story before. Maybe you've heard this story dozens of times. Regardless, here's my quick 45-second Cliff Notes version. So basically, there was this son who asked his father for his inheritance ahead of time, and the father obliged and gave his son his inheritance, and the son went out and squandered it, just spent it on a whole bunch of nasty things. And after he ran out of money, he realized, you know what, shoot, things weren't that bad with my old man back home. I'm gonna go home and beg to just be his servant. And so he returns home, and the father runs out to meet him and swarms him with love and mercy in a gigantic party. And at this party, this son's older brother goes up to their father and is like, yo, I've been with you this whole time and you never throw me parties. So what's going on there? Okay, end Cliff Notes version. It's so easy when we hear the parable of the prodigal son to think that Jesus is saying that we're like the prodigal son. You know, we've all squandered our inheritance, we've all sinned, we're all in need of the mercy of the Father, and yes, that is absolutely true. But here's what I love about Jesus' storytelling. He weaves an infinite number of layers into his stories. And so on one level, yes, we are the prodigal son, but if we were to go deeper, and I want to challenge us today to go deeper, each of us is like each of those three main characters. In other words, each of us is like the prodigal son. Each of us is like the older brother, and each of us is like the loving father. Like I said, we've all sinned. We've all chosen to go against God in small ways or big ways. We've all misused our freedom, and we're all in need of the mercy of the Father. The sacrament of reconciliation is where we can go to get that mercy. It's where we can go to meet our loving Father running to us to swarm us with love. And sometimes there's gunk in our hearts that blocks God out. Confession obliterates that gunk. When you go to confession, your sin is gone forever. I really want to encourage you to go to confession, especially if you haven't gone in a long time. Go get rid of the gunk. And so we're like the prodigal son in today's story, but we're also like the older brother in today's story. We've all fallen victim to our own pride. Chances are, if you're like me, and hey, you're human, so you've wanted your good deeds, your good actions to be seen by others. And chances are, if you're like me, which again, newsflash, you probably are if you're human, then you've fallen victim to jealousy or envy of others. Just like with the older brother in today's story, we need the reminder of the Father that we have him, and that's enough. In fact, that is everything. With the Father, we have everything we need and more, way more. And then chances are, if you're watching this, I certainly do this a lot, you've probably lost something in your life. Maybe it's a book or a phone or a gift from someone, or maybe you've lost a loved one in your life, maybe a friend or a family member. We're like the loving Father in today's story when we felt the pain of losing something or someone, and we felt the hope of having that something or someone back. And we're also like the Father in today's story when we've chosen to forgive those who hurt us. So today, which character do you relate to the most? If I were to ask you that question last year or last week even, maybe you'd have a completely different answer. But today, which character do you relate to the most? There is no wrong answer. And regardless of wherever you are, however you are, whichever character you relate to, I just want to remind you today that God's mercy extends to you. God's presence is enough for you, and God's goodness is the model for you. Happy 4th Sunday of Lent, everybody. Let's keep training well. God bless.